Good morning. First of all, let me show you some of Robbie's flowers. These blooms, these colors, the vibrance, they bring so much good cheer. Every time she speaks of them, it's like she's caressing them. Some of them are up and about, others are waiting to greet the morning sun as it rises higher behind the trees. Who was it that said, "The hand that distributes flowers retains the fragrance. She grows them"? There were times when, if one needed a pick me up, one just had to pick up one of the good old Oliver Strange or Louis L'Amour's. I read to you two passages from Louis L'Amour. The first is a foreword which the author had written in the 30th year of his first book, Hondo. Hondo was the first book published, and in his 30th year, Louis L'Amour wrote a foreword to the book. I'll read you a part of it. Then I will read you the first page of another of his lovely books, Shalako. Both are published by Corgi, and here I go. "30 years after he wrote the book, he says, I sing of arms and men, not of presidents, kings, generals, or passing explorers, but of those who survived their personal lonely alamos, men who drove the cattle, plowed the furrows, built their shelters against the wind, the men who built a nation. I do not need to go to Thermopylae or the plains of Marathon for heroism. I find it here on the frontier. I found it at Adobe Walls, at Beecher's Island, and in the aged Indian who charged the cavalry alone with a worn-out knife. I found it in the Cheyenne warrior, Mouse Road, whose enemies, when all his companions had been killed, drew off and told him he was too brave to kill, that he could go. Mouse Road told them, my brothers lie dead around me. How can I go back to my village and say they are dead but I am alive? You must kill me too. And 3 more enemies fell before he was killed. Did Demosthenes or Cicero ever speak with greater eloquence than Chief Joseph when he said, "It is cold and we have no blankets. The little children are freezing to death. My people have run away to the hills and have no blankets, no food. No one knows where they are. I want time to look for my children and see how many of them I can find. Maybe I shall find them among the dead. Hear me, my chiefs. I am tired. My heart is sick and sad. From where the sun now stands, I shall fight no more, forever." These are the American stories, the stories I wish to tell. And if I have not told them well, I shall have tried. I read to you the first page of his book, Shalako. For 7 days in the spring of 1882, the man called Shalako heard no sound but the wind. No sound but the wind, the creak of his saddle, the hoofbeats of his horse. 7 days riding the ghost trails up out of Sonora, down from the Sierra Madre, through Apache country, keeping off the skylines and watching the beckoning fingers of the talking smoke. Lean as a famine wolf, but wide and thick in the shoulder, the man called Shalako was a brooding man, a weary man, a man who trusted to no fate, no predicted destiny, nor to any luck. He trusted to nothing but his weapons, his horse, and the caution with which he rode. His hard-boned face was tanned to saddle leather under the beat-up black flat-crowned hat. He wore fringed shotgun chaps, a faded red shirt, a black handkerchief knotted about his throat, and a dozen scars of knife and bullet. It was a baked and brutal land, this Sonora, sun-blistered and arid. Yet, as he sifted his way through the stands of organ-pipe cactus, prickly pear, and cat's claw, he knew the desert throbbed with its own strange life. And he knew those slim fingers of lifting smoke beckoned death. He was a lone riding man in a lonesome country, riding toward a destiny of which he knew nothing. A man who for 10 long years had known no other life than this, nor wished for any other. What else there was he had known before, but now he lived from day to day, watching the lonely sunsets flame and die, bleeding their crimson shadows against the long serrated ridges, watching the dawns come, seeing the mornings stir with their first life. And the land he rode was a land where each living thing lived by the death of some other thing. The desert was a school where each day, each hour, a final examination was offered, where failure meant death, and the buzzards landed to correct the papers. For the desert holds no easy deaths. Hard, bitter, and ugly are the desert deaths, and long drawn out. Merciless were the raw-backed mountains, dreadfully desolate the canyons. The white-faced ancient lakes were dust, traps where a man might die, choking horribly upon alkali or the ashen powder of ancient rocks. For 7 days, Shalako heard no sound but that of his own passage, and then a gunshot bought space in the silence. I dare you to put the book down at this juncture.